One thing I've never understood is how libertarians can simultaneously be so pathetic we can't even get elected dog catcher and also be responsible for the terrible economic policy in this country. And that's what I think of when I look at like this headline from Peter Sutterman, put the libertarians back in charge. When were we ever in charge? We were never in charge. And that's the problem. The lesson of the last decade of politics is that they should be. A common gripe in American politics is that for too long, libertarians have been in charge, wielding too much power, which comes as a surprise to us. But you hear this from people like Senator Elizabeth Warren, saying that this hands-off economic policy results in concentration of corporate power at the expense of small business and labor, resulting in an economy that's rigged against the little guy. They're always saying this kind of thing. I remember up to the 2008 financial crisis. You had shows like, MSNBC and CNN and all, where they have these big panel shows. And there was one I remember particularly where it was Peter Schiff outnumbered 6-1. I don't remember who the other 6 were. I think Ben Stein might have been one of them, but they were kind of the big statist economists. And Peter Schiff was like, we're going in the wrong direction. This is a way too intrusive economy and government's messing things up and there's going to be a housing bubble and there's going to be a crash for too long. And they, like so many others, started attacking libertarians like, no, you silly little libertarians. Isn't it so wonderful that these pathetic little libertarians can't get into power, can't even get elected dog catcher? It's great that we're in power because we saved everything. We beat the boom and bust cycle. Woohoo! Happy days are here again. Housing is the permanent foundation of a permanently wealthy economy. Stupid libertarians. I got this personally. I got people attacking me personally for this thing, that kind of stuff. So then what happens? The financial crisis hits, and all of a sudden it's, hey, did you see what those libertarians did? What? I thought we couldn't get elected dog catcher. No, this is your stupid policy. Democrats and Republicans, your stupid policy, not ours. You screwed up the economy, not us. But it's a religion, so they can never admit to it. It's just a matter of how little power actual self-identified libertarians have in the corridors of government. Look at how little Ron Paul was able to do, Thomas Massey, to a lesser extent Rand Paul, but policies that will be so much better for the country that they've put forth that weren't able to get anywhere. But after 4 years of Joe Biden running a White House that was a hotbed of Warrenite progressivism, and the early months of Donald Trump's presidency marked by all manner of new right paranoia and kookiness, maybe it's time to revise the complaint. Libertarians don't have enough power. The libertarians were right. They were especially right about markets, international trade, and the American economy. We were right about wars, right about tariffs, right about the housing market, right about all of it. He talks about the abundance agenda, which I'm not really familiar with, but he's using it as an example of the YIMBY movement, yes, in my backyard, based on the idea that urban housing prices are too damn high, because building new housing was hamstrung by bureaucracy, politics, and mandates. Projects took years to permit, if they were permitted at all, and were saddled with regulations that made them far more expensive to build. Meanwhile, Democratic governance, from President Barack Obama's stimulus to Biden's American Rescue Plan, has thrown trillions of dollars at projects with little to show for it. The abundance agenda takes this insight and applies it more broadly to the economy and to energy in particular. Material progress has been hampered by bureaucratic kludginess, government overreach, and activists using the court to strangle projects with red tape. Notably, the Warrenite left despises this abundance agenda, grousing that it's too unwilling to use antitrust to crack down on concentrated corporate power, essentially the same critique leveled at libertarians. Under Trump, meanwhile, new right champions of the president have struggled to defend the on-again, off-again tumultuous imposition of tariffs. In the first months of Trump's second term, markets have repeatedly crashed and sometimes rebounded. Trump's top advisors have offered wildly differing and often contradictory justifications for his trade policies, but few appear to agree with them, especially among non-aligned voters. By mid-April, 2/3 of independent voters disapproved of the tariffs, and Trump's net economic approval among unaligned voters was at -29, a record low. Oh, but libertarians are to blame for Doge, right? Because they cut the government by $2 trillion. Oh, no, wait, it wasn't $2 trillion. It was $1 trillion. Okay, it was $150 billion. Eventually. And they may not even achieve that. He mentions the basic obvious errors in their savings claims, but also the fact that Congress doesn't seem to want to implement them permanently. But even beyond its math errors and mistakes, one of the most head-scratching features of Doge has been its reluctance to coordinate or share information with experts and organizations that have spent years putting together specific, actionable plans to cut spending and reduce the size of government. The libertarians aren't in charge, but the lesson of the last decade of politics is they should be. Again, I think the whole takeaway of this is we're not asking for all that much. Give people options. Give people opportunities. We're not asking for public funds, just the opposite. We're not asking for tighter control of anything, just the opposite. Set people free to find these solutions on their own. And no one else has to participate. No one else has to pay for it. Just let people try. What is the whole problem with that? Thank you so very much for watching. Comments for the Common God, shares for the share throne. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. And again, donate.bogosity.tv. This is so necessary to keep me doing what I do. Because this is not my full-time job. This is something I do on the side to make change, and because I have a passion for getting this information out there. The more money I can make doing this, the more of it I can do. It's just amidst all the YouTube shadow banning and everything, that's getting more and more difficult. But I've seen cases where videos have taken off because the right people shared them. And then, of course, certain videos have caused more donations to come in. That really helps. That really helps keep me going. A one-time donation, PayPal, Venmo, or cryptocurrency, or become a regular supporter, Patreon, Subscribestar, or Discord. Get the videos early and ad-free. Participate in AMAs and live streams. Thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, stay strong and be free.